Shannon Joy Show. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so great to be with all of you today. It is Thursday, July 24th. We are live on Rumble, live on Twitter, Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV. We are on X America News Live, of course, broadcasting live on YouTube and Facebook and Substack, growing the SJ network every single day, of course, on every podcast platform you can ever imagine. So if you'd like to listen to the Shannon Joy Show every single day at your leisure, we're on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, all of the big podcast platforms. Of course, huge thank you to our amazing producer, Inez Annie Cyrus, making things happen behind the scenes today. And thank you, of course, to the most amazing, intelligent, and wonderful live chatters in all of live chats right here on Rumble. You guys look amazing today. We have Be My Valentine joining us today. M. Garth Hilton, so good to see you today on the live chat. Love seeing Karen Carpenter 27 from beautiful California, a new viewer of the Shannon Joy Show. But Karen, I love seeing you every day on that live chat. Really great commentary, really great questions. And that's what I love about this chat. This is an interactive show here in the Shannon Joy Show. We have a lot of content to get to today, a heavy, heavy topic. So it's going to get intense today. We're relying on a very important piece. I tweeted out just about an hour ago, probably the most important article in the world for you to read today. It was featured on Technocracy, that is Patrick Wood's outlet, an amazing source of information about the darkest, most evil ideology, the ideology over all the ideologies that is now on warp speed here in the United States of America because of Donald Trump. It is really bad. The title of the piece, AI.GOV. It went live on July 23rd. The digital Leviathan goes live. This piece was featured in Technocracy. It was written by someone that you need to know about. Her name is Courtney Turner. She has a Substack and a podcast, and we are going to be relying heavily on this piece. It's the most comprehensive and understandable overview of the digital Leviathan, of the Technocracy, the isms, fascism, communism, socialism, all the evil ideologies of control that have been the scourge of the 20th and 21st century. They pale in comparison to the demonic underpinnings, the dark underpinnings of Technocracy, the ideology that rules over all of those ideologies. It is not left. It is not right. The technocrats use the left hand, right hand manipulation, infiltrating Republican parties, Democrat parties, conservative institutions, libertarian institutions, corporate infrastructures, local and state infrastructures. And they are able to tailor their messages to these groups in a way that hides the true intention, which is a digital control grid that analyzes everything at all times and controls 24-hour surveillance on everything, the tokenization of everything, even human beings. And it is an agenda so dark that many people cannot even fathom. They can't even fathom the way life will look if they are allowed to persist. So we are getting in this today. You are going to understand. As I mentioned, this is a heavy show. This piece, AI.gov, the digital Leviathan goes live, is what we're going to be focusing on today. It is about 10 pages, single-spaced, written out. And as I mentioned, we're going to go through it. We are going to slow things down here on the Shannon Joy Show. when those headlines rip across your screen, when it feels as if everything is getting out of control, one insane headline after another, sometimes that means you have to ignore those headlines. Doesn't mean that they're not all important, but ignore those headlines and take a look at what the other hand is doing. And I think that has been the story of July 2025. As I mentioned, those headlines, they're swirling. Trump is on the Epstein client list. Mike Johnson shutting down the government because of the Epstein client list. Obama is a treasonous traitor. Hillary was hopped up on Quaaludes for the entirety of 2016. The wife of the French president Macron is suing Candace Owens for calling her a man. Candace Owens is going into full-scale Holocaust denial. The MAGA and MAHA breakdowns, the betrayals, the lie, the breakneck pace that is the 24-hour news cycle, hammering you every single day. These are the headlines that we are subjected to. It is no wonder that people are absolutely baffled by what is going on in the country today. It's because most of those headlines are being utilized to confound and confuse and also distract you away from what has happened over the past 3 weeks, and even more importantly, the past 6 months since the inauguration of Donald Trump to the presidency of the United States of America. Again, this is not a left-right issue, and it is not even clear that Donald Trump is in control of what is happening above him. We are looking at what appears to be a full-scale coup d'etat. If you just scale back and look back over the past 6 months, we are witnessing what I believe, and many others are beginning to understand, a full-scale technocratic takeover. It is being ushered in at warp speed. It is breathtaking. And it is using primarily 3 mechanisms. First, the emergency declaration written by Donald Trump Jr. on January 20th of 2025. This declared a national energy emergency and has now paved the way for the infrastructure buildup of massive data and surveillance technologies in country or in states across the United States of America. Imagine, for example, a full-scale, a Manhattan-sized data infrastructure, database, physical database connected to a nuclear reactor run by Mark Zuckerberg that is gathering up every conceivable type of data you can imagine, from weather patterns to human biometric data to location surveillance and geopolitical surveillance. All of these things now compiled in these massive data centers, so large that they would absolutely crush our grid. The infrastructure of the United States of America, the energy infrastructure, is not even capable of handling what these data centers will need to operate, which is why they declared that emergency. The emergency declaration essentially erases all constitutional rights, our Bill of Rights, the way that our system is set up, checks and balances, any type of jurisdiction by courts, whether it's federal, state, or local, any jurisdiction by states, any type of human bodily autonomy, any type of natural rights laid out in the Bill of Rights are all wiped away when the emergency declaration is made. And that was the very beginning of this. We reported on this here on the Shannon Joy Show. While many of our colleagues, especially in right-wing news media, were too busy gloating and fawning over their new golden king and celebrating what they called a new golden era, it is anything but. The second element was the BBB, the big betrayal bill. It was called a budget bill, but it is much more insidious than that. The provision in the BBB, the worst provision, the banning of local and state oversight and jurisdiction over AI expansion and database infrastructure. So that now underscores and gives more power to the emergency declaration and also writes it, codifies it into federal law. And then the worst, what we've seen over the past couple days, amidst all of these headlines and all of the scandals and everything that you're trying to grapple with as an American, just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. We have what appears to be the final nail in this coffin. It is over. It is here. The technocracy has been installed. This is the launch of AI.gov. This information no longer goes to whitehouse.gov or any type of federal agency. It is now in the cloud and controlled fully by technocrats. Also, 3 new executive orders that were quietly launched yesterday and the day before that, that were signed by the President of the United States of America, that also further expand and fund this infrastructure. Again, at a warp speed pace. If you thought COVID-19 lockdowns were bad, if you thought the coercive measures and propaganda used by our governments under both Trump and Obama were dystopian and tyrannical and horrifying, buckle up, America. It is time for us now to understand what is coming in the next 18 months. And the good news is we can resist it. In the same way, we were able to resist the full-scale lockdown and the coercive measures. 35 to 40% of Americans were able to resist and reject the COVID-19 shots, which has created a whole slew of problems for the people who would like to implement global tyranny. There are many choices that you can make in the next 18 months that are going to make a huge difference in your lives, the lives of your children, and make it so that we can seize back our liberty and defeat these bastards. And they are bastards. Make no mistake. This is why understanding technocracy is so critically important. This is why understanding that the two parties are simply two sides of the same coin, both controlled, set up in a Hegelian dialectic to make us choose time and again between false choices, to market to different demographics here in American society, to wrap up the tyranny in marketing terms that make it palatable to a Democrat or a Republican, right? You have to understand that above that is something far more sinister. And understanding the broad agenda in terms that you can share with other people is so important. It is going to be the paradigm through which you see every political story now for probably the rest of your life. And it's going to be the key for you to make good decisions. In the same way, the people that understood the framework of COVID lockdowns and the false pandemic, those who understood that every COVID road led to forced or coerced vaccination and control, those of you who understood that from the beginning, you were able to keep your family safe. You were able to explain to them and avoid the toxic, deadly injections that are wreaking so much havoc in so many families across this country and the world. You were able to make the decision to not shut your business down, to not allow your governments to shut you down, to not allow the federal government to deem who is essential and non-essential. You insisted on going to your churches and keeping your churches open, and you aligned with people who shared those values and found networks of people who understood the bigger picture. That kept you safe during the COVID era. And this now, understanding technocracy, will be the mechanism for keeping you safe in this new era that we are entering. It is getting real, guys, and it is time to resist. Remember, no is a one-word sentence, and you're going to have to learn how to say no over and over and over again, even if it means that you are going to lose access to some privileges and some benefits, even if it means that you might have to stand up to people within your own community or lose some opportunities. It's all right, because what did we learn during COVID, right? We are so glad that we stood up. We are so glad that we resisted. And even though it was hard at the time, looking back through the fog and understanding what that real agenda was able to keep enough of us free, enough of us awake and aware, so that we can continue to challenge these guys. Okay? So let's go. That is the show today on the Shannon Joy Show. As I mentioned, this is going to be a heavy one, and we are relying on This piece featured in Technocracy and also on the Substack of Courtney Turner. This is a woman you need to be following. She reminds me a lot of Whitney Webb, but she actually has a way of explaining and writing that make things very understandable. In this piece, AI.GOV, the digital Leviathan goes live. As I mentioned, this is a must read. This is a print out. Keep it, read it, reread it, understand it, because this is going to be how we remain safe. And as M. Garth Hilton says, let's roll, right? This is a battle for the mind. It is a battle for the human spirit and the will. And we can win, right? Even though our enemies are in a different kind of shape and form, and they want us to believe that they're all powerful, all seeing, and they have the best technology, we know that this battle has been waged for centuries, thousands of years of human history. The battle never changes. It's only the technology that changes slightly, right? And now it is time for us to understand it and understand the technocracy. Again, we are reaching out. Patrick Wood has agreed to join us next week on the Shannon Joy Show as a special guest. And we are working on Courtney Turner as well as a special guest next week on the Shannon Joy Show. Tomorrow, we are going to go back to the Epstein list and the systemic corruption of some of the most elite power players in the 21st century, both sides of the political aisle. Nick Bryant, he is the OG. He was the original. He released Epstein's Little Black Book over 20 years ago. He understands this story inside and out. He will be with us tomorrow on the Shannon Joy Show as a special guest. But first, before we go to break, I want to thank our sponsors. We are so thankful for the sponsors of the Shannon Joy Show. Of course, the folks over at the Satellite Phone Store, Colonial Metals Group, and our friends over at Native Path. Hey, you guys know that my morning routine, one of the ways I stay healthy, almost 50 years old. I can't believe that I am almost halfway through a natural life. And one of the ways that I maintain a pain-free lifestyle and great hair, nails, and skin. Also, it's just a great way to restore collagen. You guys know it is my favorite, Native Path Collagen. Every single morning in my coffee, it is a must. I use Native Path Collagen. Devastatingly Handsome Dr. Joy uses Native Path Collagen for his joint pain. It has helped him in so many ways. And I believe every person over the age of 40 should be implementing collagen into their diet on a regular basis. Reduces inflammation. There are so many good outcomes from that daily use of collagen. And Native Path Collagen is the best on the market. It dissolves instantly. It has absolutely no taste. It is protein. It's beef derived, and it is absolutely clean. The best part, it is the best price point that you will find on collagen anywhere in the market. You won't find these price points at the drugstore. You won't find these price points at your discount grocery center. It is the best collagen for the best price, and you can only get it at getnativepathcollagen.com/joy. That's getnativepathcollagen.com/joy. Use that joy promo code for an additional 45% off. It's the only way you're going to get that stock up sale price. And I just recommend it. I've been using collagen for years. People ask me, how do you stay so young and vibrant, Shannon? And one of my secrets is, of course, Native Path Collagen. So we are going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive right into this piece. And I am very anxious and curious about your response. So we are going to be taking a look at the live chat. As I mentioned, this is an interactive live show. If you have comments and you're watching on Facebook or Substack or Twitter, feel free to leave a comment. Annie will keep an eye on those live chats as well. But the best way to get into the live chat and get your questions or comments read or answered is right here on Rumble. So you want to grab that live chat, join us. I love seeing new faces. If you are new to the live chat, say hello. I want to say hi to you as well. When we come back, we're digging right in. AI.gov, the digital Leviathan, goes live today on the Shannon Joy Show. Remember that gold can act like insurance for your money because its price tends to rise as the dollar's purchasing power falls. So as inflation becomes more and more unbearable, if you are investing in and purchasing physical gold and silver, this acts as a hedge to that, right? And so as that dollar value declines, your gold, your silver is increasing. And we're looking at gold breaking that 4,000 mark that was also reported recently. So this is why so many global economic and geopolitical entities are beginning to move into gold. You can move into gold too. Colonial Metals Group, everything from the purchasing of physical gold and silver at great prices, also setting up or transferring your wealth over to a self-directed gold and silver backed IRA. That is another hedge for your retirement, for your investments, and every American needs to put a gold and silver strategy in place like immediately. There is still time. This is not going to go away, this problem. It's very evident with the big betrayal bill. It is time for you to begin to protect your family, your wealth, your retirement. The folks over at Colonial Metals Group are standing by. They are ready to talk to all of you in the Joy audience. They love this audience. They've taken great care of me. It's the only company that I trust, and they will take great care of you as well. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. That is colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. Go there right now today. See if you qualify for up to $7,500 in free silver. It is an amazing deal for the Joy audience, and you can take advantage of the Sat123, the satellite phone store, and the amazing team over at this amazing website. It is everything that you need for preparation, everything that you need when the power goes out, when the storm comes, whether it's a generator to keep the power on, solar panels, a satellite phone. If we lose power and the towers go down and 5G, 4G, 3G, it's not working, these satellite phones are absolutely critical in getting in touch with loved ones, and they can actually be a blessing to an entire community. There's so many stories that Tina, the owner and founder of Satellite Phone Store, tells about communities that have one satellite phone that was used to help hundreds of families redirect traffic, direct people to a safe a place or a place to escape a fire or a natural disaster. I mean, the stories are absolutely amazing. And not only can you protect your own family, but you can also be a blessing to your community when you are prepared. Please go to sat123.com/joy. That is sat123.com/joy. That is my page. And the folks at Satellite Phone Store always have amazing deals for the Shannon Joy audience. 10% off with that promo code JOY. That's 10% off your entire purchase with the promo code JOY. Everything that you need when the lights go out. The Faraday collection, the satellite phones, the generators, you name it, they have it. And we're so thankful for everything that they do for this show. So sat123.com/joy. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Mama C 1996, always there for the right comment at the right time. God is so sovereign that he allows us our free will and still uses it for his glory. He is ultimately the final arbiter, but we may have to go through some junk due to our own willful failures, right? At the end of the day, there is always a plan. God is in control. And I believe that. You guys know I couldn't do this job if it weren't for my faith in Jesus Christ. And so we put on that spiritual armor every single day so that we can deal with some of these scary headlines and some of the scary things that are threatening humanity. We never, ever approach this with a spirit of fear on the Shannon Joy Show. It is always with the understanding that through Christ, we can do anything, and that God is ultimately in control, and he uses us in his own way, according to our unique talents and ability from our own corner of the world. This is how we resist, and it has never changed. Through one person, you can see this type of resistance. So as we begin today, let's start there with that understanding that there is no fear here, and there is something that you can do. There is a decision that you can make. in your own daily life that can and will make a difference. This is one of the headlines linked in the Joy show notes today. Zuckerberg, this is from The Guardian, says that Meta, formerly known as Facebook, will build data centers the size of Manhattan in his latest AI push. Right, so this is another example of the technocrats, the tech bros. It's a modern day version of Revenge of the Nerds. Only these guys have trillions of dollars and an enormous amount of power right now. Doesn't mean they're always going to have that amount of power, but they have it. And they all work together, and they use the left and the right. They will use Democrat administrations and Republican administrations. And we witnessed the purchasing of the Donald Trump administration somewhere around circa summer of 2024. That's when word went out to all the technocrats. This is our guy. Peter Thiel has purchased him, and we are now going to move forward in our plan to take over the entire United States government and all of their information, all of the mechanisms, and use it for our own purposes. The technocrats include people like Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. Even if they are battling each other or having a bit of a spat, we know that they all work together. From The Guardian, Mark Zuckerberg proclaimed that Meta would spend hundreds of billions of dollars and likely billions of taxpayer dollars as well, because that funding has been opened up by the Trump administration through executive orders, emergency declarations, and also the big betrayal bill. So a lot of these monies are your monies, and they're laundered through the federal government and handed to our new overlords. It's so much fun, isn't it? It's not. Anyway, they will be developing artificial intelligence products in the near future, and to that end, will construct a data center planned to be nearly the size of Manhattan. The parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp is among the large tech companies that have struck high-profile deals, probably with assurances behind the scenes from Donald Trump and the federal government, doled out multi-million-dollar pay packages to AI researchers in recent months. Some think as high as $100 million to fast track work on machines that could outthink human beings on many tasks known as superintelligence or artificial general intelligence. Its first multi-gigawatt data center, dubbed as Prometheus, and so a lot of these names come out of the Greek god mythology, pagan mythology. It's expected to come online in 2026. The other, called Hyperion, yes, another reference to pagan Greek mythology, will be able to scale up to 5 gigawatts over the coming years. We are building multiple more Titan clusters as well. Just one of these covers a significant part of the footprint of Manhattan, said the billionaire CEO. So on the heels of that, okay, multiply that by a dozen other mega corporations, global corporations, tech corporations tied directly to this federal government, and using taxpayer dollars to essentially create the control grid. And the control grid is the data centers, it's the digital ID, and the digital currency. Your money controlled by the tech overlords. They can turn it on, they can turn it off, they can use it to dictate your behaviors, and they can also use the digital ID to control your movements, where you live, where you can go, how you spend your money, and even if they get into the biometrics, which is being pushed by Bobby Kennedy Jr. with his statement under oath about wearables. Bobby Kennedy Jr. also getting into the tech game, saying that his vision for HHS is that every American will be on a wearable in 4 years. That is biometric data, also to be collected, surveilled, and housed in these data centers. That is kind of the big picture. This piece, AI.gov, the digital Leviathan, goes live, featured in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show on the Technocracy.news website. That's Patrick Wood's website, and also in Courtney Turner's Substack that she released yesterday on July 23rd. This is what Patrick Wood had to say about the last couple of days in the month of July, in context to Courtney's piece. And here's a quote. You can't say enough about AI.gov and Trump's simultaneous release of America's AI action plan. Think of it like Trump's lockdown and Operation Warp Speed, okay? I want you to hearken back to the first days of dystopia under Donald Trump when he locked us all down. America's AI action plan. Read it, study it, read it again, internalize it. This culminates the first 6 months of Trump's race to install full-blown technocracy in America. All the groundwork is finished. AI is unregulated. Data centers are being erected and electrified. States and localities are hamstrung. AI is being installed in every agency, plus the architecture for the new financial system is in place. And we saw that with the Genius Act, which was also quietly passed and signed into law by President Trump amidst all of the Epstein headlines and the Pam Bondi debacle and Hillary and Obama and Russia, all of these headlines that the majority of left and right media are focusing on are shrouding what is really happening in plain sight in January 2025. So this is from Courtney's piece. On June 18th, in my AI.gov digital Leviathan Substack, I shared my analysis of the leaked AI.gov documents, and this is Courtney Turner from her Substack, expressing concern of what I portended. Today, July 23, 2025, the digital Leviathan has officially gone live. What is unfolding before our eyes isn't just the launch of a government website. It is the operational birth of the most sophisticated technocratic control system in human history, moving at a pace that has left even the most ardent accelerationists stunned. Operation Warp Speed 2.0 Technocracy version from Donald Trump. The trinity of technocratic control, she writes, the AI chatbot assistant, unified API framework, and the console monitoring dashboard. You guys will understand what all of these are by the end of the show. Don't worry, you need to understand this. It's now fully operational as AI.gov. No longer redirecting to whitehouse.gov. That's important. The picture that has emerged over the past months reveals something far more sinister than even my initial analysis suggested. A coordinated transformation of American governance that represents the fastest and perhaps most concerning, most deceptive technocratic implementation in modern history. We will go over how Trump deceived his constituents into voting for him when the real agenda was technocracy. We will see the sophisticated control mechanisms that they use to trick we the people. And we'll also look at the elements of this infrastructure. We are going to look at David Sachs. We are going to look at the GSA. This is the General Services Administration, and how they have changed that technology to completely mechanize USA governance. Our government now using AI and machine decision making to impact and affect your life in every way imaginable. That is now in place. We are going to look at Stargate and that connection, the $500 billion technocratic wet dream infrastructure, okay, that will create the databases necessary using federal land and private land, your backyard. If you think that your local government or your state government or your local courts or state courts can go up against this Leviathan easily, think again. They are going to need we the people rising up in every local community to push this back and shut this down. And in many cases, we might have to align with people who have different political ideologies than we do. We might have to bring Republicans and Democrats together to resist this. But I do believe that we can do it. We are going to look at the governance and the coup d'etat and how they implemented that, the 3-pillar assault on constitutional government, right? So everything that you thought protected you as a citizen, everything that you thought you had in terms of protection using the Constitution and the rule of law, that is gone out the window. And it doesn't mean we can't use it to resist, but from their perspective, in their own documentation and what we've seen in the past 6 months, they are going to try to operate outside of our constitutional system with absolutely no rule of law. That's why those emergency declarations are so damaging. That is why the language in the BBB, which violates our constitution, is damaging. And that is also why we need to understand this. Okay, so we're going to look at the what this does to our freedoms, our governance, and rule of law. We're going to look at the timeline, the coordinated nature of the technocratic transformation in 6 months, and we can actually go over that now before we go to break. And then we're also going to look at the AI first governance, what this new government is going to look like. Now, the United States of America, through President Trump, the recent passage of 3 executive orders over the past 3 days. One of them is about the export of these systems, these protocols. They call them stacks. All right. And the coordinated effort to export all of this to all of our allies, some of our enemies, and even through coercion across the globe. So this is a full-scale effort by the United States of America and whoever our allies are to export this. Again, it is a massive surveillance. Once this is erected, it is much more difficult to resist it. But that is going to that's going to be pushed out. And there is a very clear, if you guys want to go to whitehouse.gov over the past 3 days, they have memos and overviews of what these 3 executive orders are. But the first executive order has to do with controlling speech. So it takes over the learning language models. I think it's learning language models through AI. The government has seized that now, or the technocrats have seized that, and they will determine what is truth and what is not truth. That was the first executive order. The second executive order empowers and funds the federal government to build out the infrastructure with those databases, obliterating private property rights, obliterating state and local jurisdictions and zoning concerns. That's in the second executive order. And the third executive order then takes that entire process and exports it to the rest of the world. That was what we saw over the past 3 days. So it is coordinated, and it is essentially, Trump is the front-facing president of the United States of America. He has no idea what the hell is going on. He just wants to get out of the presidency, get his casino in Dubai, and retire. He has handed this country over to the most dystopian, evil, disgusting, ideological technocrats that we have ever seen. Okay, so we're going to look at that, the coordinated nature and the rollout, and the AI first government, the death of human destruction. We will also look at the speed of transformation, and we will look at how cognitively they are going to use these language models, AI-driven language models, and sophisticated propaganda, and also all of the data that they have collected on you via social media and through many of these technocratic platforms, whether it's Google, Twitter, Facebook, any of the email corporations that you use, and also a federal government. There is going to be a full-scale push to use that data, your personal data, against you in an attempt to manipulate your mind, to control your thinking, to brainwash you, and to move you into compliance with these new protocols. So your mind is indeed under siege. Now, don't be afraid. I know that this sounds really bad. Knowledge is the beginning of resistance and the beginning of your ability to resist this. And sometimes that's the most important element. So if you're going online every day and you're ready for battle and you're thinking, okay, what does Twitter want me to think and feel today? What does Facebook want me to think and feel today? What is my favorite controlled propagandist, right? All of the influencers out there. What agenda items are they trying to push? Let me tell you, that annihilates about 80% of their control over you, just the knowledge of it, okay? So we're going to learn how to deal with that. We're going to learn together so that we can resist it, okay? We're also going to look at how we fight back, okay? Resistance strategies. The window is closing, but it isn't closed, and we can resist. And there is a list of things that you and I can do and things that we need to start demanding. This is humanity versus technocracy. And it could really look like people who just decide to go analog, with a little bit of technology that they like, versus the people who want to move into the freedom cities, the smart cities, and those technocratic utopian communities that do so at your own risk. I don't think I would do that, but oh look, we have some hey Annie, if you can take a look at the live chat, I think we have a troll that is making a little trouble on the live chat. So this is what we're going to look at today on the Shannon Joy Show. We're going to try to get through as much of it as humanly possible, but I also want to get comments from all of you. So we are going to take a quick break right now. If you have comments or questions, and we're about halfway through the show, we're going to get into the detailed version of the show. Again, we're referring to a piece by Courtney Turner. You can follow her on Substack. We are also going to invite her into the Joy Virtual Studio for a full hour and a half, an in-depth interview. And we also have Patrick Wood lined up for next week. So we're going to be getting lots of information, more opinions on this. This is really your 101 primer as to what is coming down the pipe in the next 18 months and what we need to do to resist this. Tragically, we've had absolutely no reckoning for COVID-19 because we reelected the guy who did it to us in the first place. They are now pushing pedal to the metal. We're not going to get any type of reckoning, I think, for COVID, for the lockdowns, the hospital deaths, the rollout of the poison jabs. We're going to have to fight through this technocracy first before we can get to real truth, real justice. But again, we're only halfway through this. I think we are at war. I think this is a global battle, and we're about halfway through it. But you guys know I am an eternal optimist, and I do believe we're going to win in the end. God is on, hopefully, we won't say this, hopefully we're on God's side. And we know that God is all powerful and he has all sorts of ways to throw wrenches in their plans and to rise up a nation of people across the globe who are willing to claim the power and the authority of a natural God and this natural world and humanity. Okay. And so that's going to be the mission. We will be back in a moment with your comments, your questions. Remember, put them in all caps if you want me to read them. Annie is going to take a look at the comment section so far, and we'll see if we can find some good comments and questions, and then we're going to get into the details. You're going to come away from this show with a very clear understanding, and hopefully this is one that you can share with everyone you know as well. We'll be back in a minute right here on the Shannon Joy Show. As you know, the Joy children are all beach volleyball players. They're always trying to get more protein into their diet. It rebuilds strength. It helps them repair their muscles. It supports the fast metabolism, and they never have any bloat with the native path. So one of our favorites on game days or in the morning, one of our favorites at the Joy household is the chunky monkey. And this is the way that you make it. I promised you I would give you my recipe. And if you have like picky eaters who don't always make the best choices and don't love their vegetables and don't eat healthy, this is a great way to get, just so many nutrients packed in. So we do a scoop of, so I use the bullet. I don't know if you guys have the bullet blender, but we use the bullet blender. I put a scoop of peanut butter, so natural peanut butter, then a bunch of ice. Then we pour over that enough milk to kind of cover all of the peanut butter, all of the ice. Then we put a full banana in, super ripe if you have one, and a scoop of the Native Path Complete chocolate protein. That's the kicker. That's where you just like ramp this thing up. And so you put it in the blender, you mix it up, and it is so delicious. It is packed. There's nothing bad in this. It is the banana. It is the natural peanut butter. It's the protein, ice, and just a little bit of skim milk. And it's so, so good. They love it. And I never, ever, no ice cream whatsoever. It tastes like ice cream though. It is, you guys are gonna die. And honestly, the chocolate protein from Native Path is so good. It is so good that my kids will mix it into their milk. They'll make chocolate milk with it because it just tastes so great. It dissolves perfectly. Again, 41% off. You guys know Native Path always comes to the table with like the best discount deal. This is when everyone in the Joy audience stocks up. So 41% off Native Path completeprotein.com/joy. Native Path completeprotein.com/joy. This is limited time, 41% off. Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to the Shannon Joy Show. We're going to hit up the live chat right now for just a couple minutes. Great comment from Nautical on the live chat. Nautical, here we go. Yes, all the technocrats were backing Trump to get the B system built because they knew Kamala or Biden would have faced roadblocks from the conservative right by fast tracking the building of the technocracy. And that is such a critical point. Thank you for making it, Nautical. Something that I pointed out 18 months ago when I was warning. In fact, I went back and looked at when we began warning this audience about the technocratic takeover of the Trump campaign and then the Trump presidency, of course. And we made the argument then, this stuff would never get through with a Biden administration or a Kamala administration because the conservatives and Republicans and the religious right would be so fearful and so outraged about a surveillance state that they would have done everything in their power to resist it. And I think that was the play of the technocrats. They knew that. They knew that they had to get our guy into a position of power to anesthetize any opposition and make his base believe that they were safe, right? We don't like surveillance when it's Biden surveillance, but if it's Trump surveillance, we trust him because he's Make America Great Again, and it's, you know, he's our guy. And they use that. That's how the technocrats use the left hand and the right hand constantly back and forth to lull one side of the country, one side of the political spectrum to sleep under a blanket of false security. And they have used this over and over and over. In fact, I don't believe that lockdowns would ever have happened. I don't think that lockdowns would have been possible if they had come under an Obama, a Hillary, or a Biden, because the churches, the religious right, right-wing organizations, and right-wing media would have absolutely raged against it. They had to bring our guy in, which is a really critical point for people to remember. From Garth Hilton, thank you so much. Shannon, please share with your enormous following one way that we can say no to refuse real ID and work to resist. They have great tools to engage in this fight. And thank you so much, Garth, for reminding me of this. www.cchfreedom.org/national ID. You do not have to accept a digital ID. You don't need it to fly. You don't need it to move around. In fact, if you have a digital ID, you can actually go to your state DMV, and even in New York State, trade it in for an old school analog driver's license. There's a mechanism to do that. It's on my agenda list to do. And I think everyone now should begin to do that. Also, analog money, gold, silver in your safe, gold and silver backed retirement accounts, dollars, using, you know, good old fashioned cash to conduct your purchases and your transactions. These are ways that you can maintain privacy, and using them will protect them. More and more people using them will make it much, much harder for them to roll this out comprehensively. In the same way that just 10% or even 30% of people refusing the COVID-19 vaccines set up exactly what the planners and controllers didn't want, a control group. People don't realize how massive that victory was here in the United States of America. And it's probably closer to 40% of Americans refused and did not accept the COVID shots. That makes it so difficult for them to round up the stragglers in maybe a 1 or 2%. So we're always fighting against that 99% uptake. So don't think if everyone else is doing it, don't get depressed. And don't be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do it because everyone else is doing it. We only need, I would say, 10, 20, 30%, probably less than that, to just completely obliterate their plans. Part of their plans include they need 100% universal uptake of whatever it is, whether it's the digital money or the digital ID. And so one more comment about the Eliza effect, but I can't see who it was. Who did we hear? I can't find it. I lost it. I have the comment, but I don't have the person that made the comment. So if you made the comment about the Eliza effect, just pop it into the live chat again. We Are All Dead is with us today on the live chat. Karen Carpenter, great to see you. XX Sparky XX, you are brand new on the live chat. Love seeing you there. Love seeing new faces and new names. Actually, not faces, just names. But Karen Carpenter, Catherine Austin Fitz said Trump was chosen to bring in the control grid at least 6 months before the election. She was so right. And we were saying that here on the Shannon Joy Show right around the same time, even before. In fact, as you know, if you are longtime viewers and listeners of the Shannon Joy Show, we had Donald Trump's number about 2 weeks after he came down that golden escalator. We knew who he was. We had him figured out. And I have been saying this to my audience for 12 years. And so essentially, we did get it right. We got it right. Yes, don't frag me, bro. Thank you so much. Sparky X. We are forced into crypto. I guess I'll invest in some. No, Sparky, you have failed Politics 101 and Resistance 101. You never say, well, they want us to do it and everyone's going to do it and they're forcing us. You just say no. And that's how they got so many poor souls to get those shots, is they made them think that everyone else was doing it, and it just wasn't the case. Everyone, yes, Guitar Lily, give this show right now, if you like it, a thumbs up. It helps us with the algorithm here on Rumble and all of the platforms. All right, so let's get into this piece, AI.gov, the digital Leviathan. Let's understand it. Let's first go back to the unholy trinity. This is written by Courtney Turner. Trump sacks and the self-appointed technocrats. Today, AI.gov. So this was yesterday, actually, July 23rd, 2025. The launch coincides with the release of Trump's America's AI Action Plan. That's another one you're going to want to download, print out, and understand and share with everyone you know. This is the map, so to speak. This is the plan for the next 18 months, actually probably the next decade. It's a 28-page blueprint for technocratic dominance that reads like a wish list compiled by Silicon Valley oligarchs, where legendary technocracy expert Patrick Wood's analysis becomes absolutely critical. The most powerful figure shaping this transformation isn't even a real government employee. It isn't Donald Trump. It isn't Susie Wiles. It isn't even the billionaires with the strings that are controlling those puppets. It's another puppet. He has controls too, but the guy is David Sacks. He is unelected. He is unaccountable. He's Trump's so-called AI and crypto czar. He operates as a special government employee who works just 130 days a year and maintains his role at Kraft Ventures, which is his corporation. So there's a huge conflict of interest there, among probably thousands of other conflicts of interests, including, Elon Musk going into our governmental organizations and uploading to his cloud like proprietary government information, like trillions of dollars of information. It was insane. We called that out too, by the way, here in the Shannon Joy Show when that happened about 3 months ago. As Patrick Wood points out, this makes Sacks essentially self-appointed, wielding unprecedented influence over federal AI policy. His authority is questionable, writes Patrick Woods. He was originally listed as a special advisor. Patrick Woods conducted an exhaustive search to determine that David Sacks has no current position with any government entity and is therefore a private citizen. He is acting as a government ruler. Okay? So What is his name doing on official reports? Apparently, Sachs is self-appointed to be the crypto and AI czar, self-appointed. Today's arch technocrat, they are so sure of themselves that they don't even need official appointments to assert themselves and dominate within our governments. Now, so he's kind of the guy running this stuff. The next element of this is the money. The money is important, and that happened just a couple days ago through the legislation, the Genius Act, that is cryptocurrency as technocracy infrastructure. The coordination between Trump and the technocrats became crystal clear when you understand that Trump signed the Genius Act into law just 5 days ago. So this has happened. When you talk about the speed, this has happened at a lightning fast speed in July. Amidst all of the crazy headlines, it's also the sleepiest month of the year. Nothing really happens in July. Have you guys noticed that? It's hot, it's summer, everyone's on vacation, and that's when they are just asserting all of these horrifying things. So this was landmark cryptocurrency legislation. It is not just about digital assets. It's about laying groundwork for tokenization, creating the financial infrastructure for technocratic control. Tokenization means that everything in nature, every body of water, every piece of land, your home, your body, animals, every item, every element becomes tokenized. It gains a digital persona, a digital ID, and they're creating essentially a digital counterpart, a mirror world of this world that actually is the world that decides what happens in this world. And that's what tokenization is. Everything gets labeled, cataloged, tokenized, has an ID, and then is now built in this digital world that is run by these massive data centers. You can't make it up. This is a sci-fi nightmare. And a lot of these guys are sci-fi nerds with God complexes. Now, they say they have the technology to do this. It is not clear that they do have the technology to do this. They'd like to think it. They'd like us to think it. But I think a lot of these things are really just these like manic, psychotic, sociopathic, God complex. And these people are crazy, all right? And they think that they can really accomplish this. But so that is what tokenization is, and that is the larger picture of the Genius Act. It establishes, this Genius Act, the first federal regulatory framework for stablecoins. It requires 100% reserve backing, so that's from the government, with liquid assets, and creates a unified system for digital currency that perfectly complements the AI first government strategy. This is the financial backbone of technocracy, a system where monetary policy becomes as algorithmic as every other aspect of government and governance. No more humans, no more press conferences, no more questions, no more oversight, no more reckoning, no more human involvement at all. The technocrats control the algorithms control we the people, the humans. And there is no recourse. You have no rights. There is no judge to go to. Once the algorithm makes the decision, it's done. Do any of you have contracts with social media, companies, or contracts with some of the apps on your phone? Have you seen how long they are? Try to negotiate with AI. Have you ever tried to get in touch with someone? Have you ever tried to get in touch with a human being at Twitter, at X? Impossible. Some of the highest profile accounts on X have no access whatsoever to Twitter or to help or to customer service or to a human-facing person. It is all automated. It's horrifying. It's one of the reasons I cannot wait to get off of Twitter and off of X. Okay, so this is what they are looking to do. So that's the Genius Act. Again, this piece, AI.gov, the digital Leviathan, goes live. It is the most comprehensive piece that you will need to read and understand to understand what is coming and how they are going to use technology, or they're going to try to use technology to take apart your God-given natural rights. Thomas Shedd, he is the Tesla engineer remaking government. This is a guy I haven't heard of yet, but he's featured in this as the head of the GSA. It's the General Services Administration Technology Transformation Services. His strategy is AI first. Under his leadership, the GSA is being transformed to operate like a startup software company, making Curtis Yarvin's dark enlightenment dreams a reality. His initiatives include this, okay? And this is General Services Administration is like it's everything, okay? This is a very important bureaucracy. And under this leadership, this is what they envision. First, AI, artificial coding agents deployed across all agencies. Number two, centralized government contract databases designed for AI analysis. Three, financial automation replacing human oversight. And four, 50% workforce reduction at TTS to make room for AI systems. So this is a complete overhaul of the entire United States federal government and an automation of this. This is going to expand outside of government agencies to any entity, any corporation, any private company, any institution that interfaces with the federal government, including humans. You have a social security number, you have to pay your taxes, you want your social security check. All of this now becomes automated and it is systemic. You are no longer dealing with humans in this dystopian, horrifying new world order. This is what Trump has laid. He has rolled this out. Speaking of the coordinated nature of this and the speed with which Donald Trump has put this in place for his technocratic overlords, the puppets controlling the strings of Donald Trump. This is how fast it happened. Operation Warp Speed on steroids. January 23, 2025, Trump signs the executive order removing all AI barriers. July 18, 2025, the Genius Act is signed into law. July 23, AI.GOV goes live and AI action plan is released. Have you seen any of this on Steve Bannon's War Room? Have you seen any of this on Glenn Beck's chalkboard? Have you seen any of this on your favorite right-wing news radio or commentator? Have you seen this on The Blaze? Have you seen this on Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro? Have you seen any type of in-depth analysis from the right? None whatsoever. Exactly what they wanted to happen happened. Their guy got into office. Their guy was a Trojan horse for the technocrats. And now the right-wing media apparatus is looking away as this is happening again. The same thing that they did during the lockdowns of 2020 and the rollout of Operation Warp Speed. It is the exact same playbook. Groundhog Day political hell. Why am I the only one in right-wing news media, the only one in right-wing news media talking about this days after it happened? It is time for you to begin to challenge these people who are leading this nation, their constituents, their audiences off a cliff. Off a cliff. I'm not that smart. They have producers, they have researchers, they have editors, they have billions of dollars, all combined. They have everything at their fingertips to tell you what's going on, and they won't do it. It's left up to people like me, independents. This is why you guys need to support the Shannon Joy Show and push this out. And remember, the only reason we can talk about it here is because we're completely independent. I don't have backers. I don't have billionaires. I don't have PACs, super PACs, politicians. I don't link up with either political party. We have built this audience over 12 years, person by person, by remaining consistent and always looking for the truth and where the facts lead us. And it's not been easy, but it is just a damn shame. Derek Bros is amazing. I'm talking about the right. David Knight, phenomenal. Patrick Wood, phenomenal. Catherine Austin Fitz. I'm talking about the big guys. I'm talking about the guys who dominate right-wing talk radio. I'm talking about the guys who dominate all of the major platforms. The Blaze, Daily Wire, Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, you name it. None of them are doing that. And they command massive audiences. Steve Bannon, the War Room, a little bit, but not what you need to know. It's all in context of, well, this is a Biden thing. And these are like bad left-wing guys. But Trump's our guy, right? Somehow Trump is fighting this with 12-dimensional chess in the shadows. And we just need to let it roll over us, right? Because we only have to wait. Just trust the plan and wait. Like, come on, guys. It is so dumb. These people are so dumb and they think you're dumb. Thank you, Mark the Regan. One smart cookie. Well, sometimes I wish I weren't smart. Sometimes I wish I could just bury my head in the sand like, an ostrich and not have to deal with this. But this is my job. Like, somehow I picked this job. I started it 12 years ago. And, there's I don't know what else to do these days. So this is what we do. All right. But what was it? Where were we? Okay. We were talking about GSA. We talked about the timeline. The 3 executive orders that went in place yesterday, again, further implementing this, the Stargate connection, okay, $500 billion in technocratic infrastructure. We reported this to you on the Shannon Joy Show in the same way we reported the Doge coup d'etat by Elon Musk sucking up all of our information. Again, it's like a voice in the wilderness out here. The $500 billion Stargate project. So this is the physical infrastructure, right? There's everything up in the cloud. There's all of the data, surveillance and gathering of data, the tokenization. And then the Stargate project, these are the Mark Zuckerberg Manhattan-sized data centers, so large and sucking up so much power that they need a nuclear reactor attached to each one of them. Imagine like thousands of them, maybe hundreds of thousands of them across the country. That is the vision. Nautical. Steve Bannon is trying to figure out how to get Trump a 3rd term. I can't. Any analysis that you see that puts Trump up as a savior is completely false analysis. And I suggest you throw that commentator out of the bus. David Knight is amazing. Yes. Wonderful source, David Knight. Thank God he is doing well. He sent a message out to all of his followers. David Knight, we love you. We need you. Thank you for your analysis. Another great source. Who else do we have? I mean, you guys know, Last American Vagabond. We feature people on the Shannon Joy Show every single week, do about 3 interviews a week, sometimes 4. I am all about smashing out as many great resources as I can possibly find. Whitney Webb, her reporting. Mark Goodwin has agreed to come on the Shannon Joy Show. We've introduced you guys to so many. James Corbett, Karen Carpenter, thank you so much. He is fantastic. This one, Courtney Turner. I've never even heard of Courtney Turner, and she's fabulous. We are relying 100% on her piece to get a very clear understanding of what is going on and what has happened in the past week here in the United States of America. So yes, Jeff Dornick is great. Cannot wait for him to get Pickaxe going. Again, some of this is not necessarily a rejection of technology. It is an understanding of what they're trying to do in the agenda, deciding what technology we like and what technology we don't like, and putting it in a box that works for humans, not against humans. So that's going to be a process. And I do believe that people like Jeff Dornick, who understands the technocracy, he understands the technocrats, but also is not necessarily afraid in any way of actual technology. Catherine Austin Fitz and Solari, highly recommend that you guys sign up and support Solari Report. Obviously, Patrick Wood over at Technocracy. He's probably the foremost expert in the world on this topic. He has been writing books about it from the right perspective. His head is squarely on his shoulders. It's none of the doom and gloom, frightening, like they're taking everything over and there's nothing you can do. Chicken Little, sky is falling, running around with your hair on fire. Not anything like that. Okay. Again, we come to this with a spirit of authority and no fear whatsoever. We're the humans. Okay. Our brains are far, far superior than anything that AI can ever churn out. All of the lies about robots and AI being smarter than human, it's ridiculous. It's absurd and outrageous. And it is the maniacal wet dream of a bunch of nerds who read sci-fi novels their entire life and were really pissed because all of like the real strong guys in the real world were able to get the girls and they never were. All right. So now, yeah, they've done something here. Now we have to beat them back. All right. But I think a lot of their bluster and their assertion of the technology that they have, I think that it is vastly over emphasized, and I believe that it's not necessarily as sophisticated as they want to say that it is. CJP Rumble, yeah, I think Catherine Austin Fitts and Patrick Wood are the gold standard. A bunch of other great names here on the live chat. And so some of them I recognize, some of them I don't. Keep them coming, guys. I appreciate all of you. CJP Rumble, all phenomenal, including all of you. Absolutely. All right, so let's go. We have about, I would say, 15 minutes left in the show. Is this too much, guys? Do I need to slow this down? I know we are like ripping through this piece. Again, it's about 10 pages printed out. The piece is AI.gov. The digital Leviathan goes live. The author is expert Courtney Turner. She put this out yesterday, July 23rd, on her Substack. It was picked up by technocracy.news. You can get it at either venue. Yes, let me know if we're going too fast. Do I need to slow it down? You know me, when I get going, it's like, let's get through this stuff. This is really going to be, I think that this is going to be the paradigm. This is going to shape kind of all of the political analysis that you're going to see here on the Shannon Joy Show for the next 18 to 24 months. Nostradamus, thank you so much. Guys, let's smash that like button right now. Again, hitting that like button, the thumbs up, following the Shannon Joy Show on Rumble, and contributing on the live chat. These are the critical ways that this show gets pushed out and pushed up through that algorithm. It's the same on YouTube and Facebook and Substack and Twitter. So if you're watching now on any of those venues, please like, please comment, please share, and please follow. Guitar Lily says, no, ma'am, bring it on. We want more. Karen Carpenter, keep it rolling, Shannon. Most of us have had an introduction to this topic. Again, proving that the Shannon Joy audience is the most brilliant, the most awake and aware, the kindest audience in the United States of America today, maybe on the face of the planet. So appreciative to all of you. By the way, you can support the Shannon Joy Show. As I mentioned, we are independent. If you want to support this show independently, please consider setting up a monthly contribution, becoming a Shannon Joy Show angel investor. You can do that at the website, theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com. You can sign up. That is just you and me. All right. There's no one else there. That collaboration is on my own website. And you can also sign up for the daily e-newsletter, which goes out every single day in the morning. I write it myself, no AI. It is just me writing to you with all of my top headlines, news of the day, and ways that you guys can get up and get active. So those are the ways that you guys can engage with the Shannon Joy Show and help keep this show growing and stable. Right? Again, as I mentioned, we don't have backers. So except all of you. I mean, we have all of you who are backing the show, which makes you guys my boss. It's actually the best way to do this. This part is important that people, I think, need to understand in terms of how to resist. So this is it. The 3-pillar assault on constitutional government. Okay, this is how they're going to take apart your God-given natural rights and our Constitution and all of the good things about our Constitution. Trump's AI action plan operates through 3 coordinated pillars that represent a systematic attack on constitutional governance, writes Courtney Turner. The first pillar is the acceleration of AI innovation. Number 1, they remove all regulatory barriers. They've already done that. Number 2, they eliminate ideological bias from AI systems. Translation, this is the removal of all human values. They mandate AI access for all federal employees who could benefit, and they withhold federal funding from states, schools, any entity that is contracting with the federal government will not receive that funding unless they comply with the AI regulations. All right, so that's artificial intelligence. So think like your kid's daycare center. If there is federal funding that goes to a daycare center, well, then they're going to have to comply with all of this, which means that they by default are going to enforce that compliance on all of you. So you could see a situation where your kid gets kicked out of daycare, your kid gets kicked out of school if they are not somehow plugged into this system. This is when tough decisions are going to have to be made. Pillar 2, build the American AI infrastructure, streamlining permitting for data centers and energy infrastructure, allocating federal and non-federal. She says federal lands here, but I have seen language that also apply to non-federal lands, private lands for AI facility construction. Those are the databases. The modernization of the electrical grid to power AI systems, and training of workforces, especially for AI infrastructure. And this is also conditioning humans to use less electricity. So rolling brownouts, forcing you to accept less electricity for your human, life. And, that goes out to all of the databases. And then the third pillar is leading international AI diplomacy. So this is the export of American AI systems to allies and partners to counter, they say, Chinese influence, to align global protection measures around U.S. AI standards, and to establish the U.S. government as the leader in evaluating AI risks. So foreign resistance to this exporting is going to be very important. And this is one moment where I hope little countries across the globe stand up to the United States of America and say, oh, hell no, we don't want your AI. We don't want your data centers. We don't want your best practices. We don't want your standards. We don't want your stacks. That's what they call them in the executive order. So this assault, these are all laid out in the executive orders that Trump passed yesterday and the day before. Again, this is how they're going to streamline everything. Okay. The coordinated nature. This is what we want to go here, or I want to go here with the cognitive liberty crisis. And this is important as well. What is AI and, this new digital world order? What does that mean for like you, your soul, your mind, the minds of your children? The console monitoring system that they warned about is now tracking federal employees in real time, creating exactly the self-censorship epidemic that I predicted. Elon Musk gobbled this up. Remember when he asked everyone that worked for the government to list exactly what they did every day for like a week or 2 weeks, and they had them categorized? This rolls into that, right? This is a surveillance system for humans that then begins to, through like soft power, impact how humans act. If they know that they're always surveilled, they're always being watched, they're going to act in a different way. And so the psychological warfare here is intentional, right? Research shows that workers under constant AI monitoring report higher anxiety rates in general compared to unmonitored employees. The psychological warfare here is intentional. The goal is behavioral modification through algorithmic pressure, training humans. And remember, everything that they're doing at the government will then be expanded out to every single institution that interfaces with the federal government. So when people say, oh, well, this is just for the government, this isn't for private companies, or this can't impact you in your life, they're just overhauling the US government. No. That's not how it works. That is totally false. It's a red herring, right? This is going to impact you. And it's going to impact you much faster than you can ever imagine. Like, this is coming down the path, and it's coming down the path quite quickly. The goal is behavioral modification through algorithmic pressure, training humans to conform to machine readable patterns of thought and action. So these are just some of the most important elements of what the new digital tyranny looks like. And tragically, it has been ushered into the United States of America to the cheers of right-wing news media who like to call themselves liberty-oriented and constitutional. People who say they want to make America great again. Their guy, Donald Trump, has handed this country over on a silver platter for a technological dystopia unlike anything we have ever seen. And they are pushing that pedal to the metal. Okay. This is how we resist. First and foremost, number one, do not be afraid. Remember, there is a natural God. He is way more powerful than any of these idiots, okay? Any of these control freak lunatics. There are ways he can send angels here on earth to throw wrenches in their plans. I've seen it happen. The further we move into tyranny, the more miracles I witness. And so I come to work every day with absolutely zero fear. They want you to be afraid. They want you to think that there's no way out. The first step is to refuse fear and to know that our God is much more powerful than any of these people. Trust in him, believe in him, and gain your power through him, through his son, Jesus Christ. That's just my own opinion, okay? I couldn't do this without Jesus. Absolutely no fear. That's number one. That's the beginning of resistance. Learn how to say no and say no again and again and again until they force you to do it. They're going to try to tell you you have to do this because everyone else is, or we're going to take your job, or we're going to kick you out of school, or you can't come to church, or you can't do this or that. Reject that. Say no until they force you to do it, because what you will find is that there are ways. God always creates a path for us to wiggle out of any of their coercive measures or their dictates. And if you trust in him, he will lead you down that path. There might be moments when you have to give something up, and that might be hard, but understand that in the giving up of that convenience or that business deal or that money or that job, you are setting yourself up for blessings beyond imagine in the future, because God does align with and bless the people who love him and trust him. Okay. So you start there. Learn to say no, whether it's a digital ID, digital money, as best as you can. All right. There are going to be times when we're going to have to make individual decisions. Do not judge other people in what they do. Just worry about you and your family. There are things that we can do. Bottom-up organization, refusal to comply, peaceful non-compliance, organizational efforts as I laid out, finding like-minded people. I gave you a lot of names today on the show, and these are some immediate demands. She writes here, and we're talking about Courtney Turner, resistance strategies. The window is closing, but it's not closed, right? The opportunities for resistance are there. Immediate demands need to be these, and I will push these out as well. Algorithmic transparency for all AI.gov systems, human review requirements for all AI decisions, congressional hearings on the ethics of self-appointed technocrats, electoral accountability for all AI policymakers, cognitive liberty protections for federal employees. In terms of systemic changes, we need constitutional amendments protecting human agency in government. We need mandatory divestiture requirements for government AI advisors. We need democratic oversight at the local, state, and federal level for all AI procurement decisions. We need whistleblower protections and local resistance networks built all up over the United States of America to maintain human-centered governance. That is the beginning. Thank you, thank you, thank you to Courtney Turner. This was a brilliant piece. It is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show today. I know I threw so much at you today. This was a heavy show, but we did get through it. Every reference to this piece is in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. Highly recommend you print it out, read it, reread it, share it, because the more people who understand what is coming, the better able we are going to be able to organize that bottom-up resistance. We don't need AI. We don't need technology. The Amish have been doing it for like 100 years, and we don't even need to go all Amish. We can do like Amish light, Mennonite light, but going back to a lot of those human elements. It is all there. It is at our fingertips. We just have to know and believe that we can do it. Get your ammo. Get your gold and silver, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. Colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy for all your gold and silver, physical gold and silver. They always have the best spot prices, and it is so easy. They ship it right to your home. Also, if you're interested in looking at a gold or silver backed individual IRA, go with the real stuff. Go analog. This is one way that you can protect your family if they use some economic shenaniganizing to move us into a digital ID. It is so important that you're getting your gold and silver. And man, silver is looking great right now. So colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. Get your guns, get your ammo. We love all that as well. But the most important commodity is going to be human relationships of trust. Thank you, Catherine Austin Fitts. That's what we're going for. And that's what we do every day here in the Shannon Joy Show. I'm so thankful for all of you. Thanks for being with us today on the live chat. Annie Cyrus, thank you for producing this show. We absolutely love you. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all again right here on the Shannon Joy Show.